Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Slice of Fried Gold. Don't mind that, that's just Ben mounting the curb.
Well, something needs to be mounted nowadays. If it ain't going to be me! I
was going to say, speak for yourself. If you're joining us for the first time, like this video, subscribe to the channel, give us a nice comment down below and comment on this week's topics of discussion. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star review. And comment down below as well. I think that's all of it. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, do all that stuff.
Subscribe, ring the notification bell.
Yeah.
Comment down below, share. If you're on Spotify, 5-star review. Come on, you've done this enough times now.
Honestly, I feel like I do it right, and then I second guess myself. Like I feel like I've missed something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think I've done it all. But anyway, anyway, with that, how are you?
Yes, I am. I'm alive.
You're alive.
He lives. I live. I had last week off on annual leave, and then it's just been a shit show since coming back, and it's like, why did I go on holiday? Is this punishment? Is this hell? Did I die on holiday or something? So yeah, it's just been not fun since coming back to work, and though there was something entertaining that happened today.
Oh, always helpful.
So the people who worked from home today, they suddenly had issues and they couldn't access the system.
Okay.
So Bossman calls the IT company. IT company are like, we can't see anything wrong, so reboot your router.
Okay.
So Bossman reboots the router. So of course we lose internet for a few seconds, yada yada yada, fine, whatever. That's when the interesting thing happens, is because we share routers and servers with the office next door.
Oh.
And once the router got rebooted, we started receiving next door's phone calls.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So that was quite interesting. And what was even more is they weren't ringing across the whole office, they were ringing to one guy. So his phone just started going crazy. And it would be like, no, this isn't global. No, this isn't global. No, this isn't global.
That poor soul.
And then, of course, eventually someone from Global came by and was like, are you getting our phone calls? And we're like, yes. And he's like, we're getting yours. And we're like, oh, keep them. You
Marvellous.
are more than welcome to them, because sometimes our customers are just
someone else.
Well, so a colleague of mine, he was having an argument with a customer of his today.
Yeah. Because
his customer wants a delivery to happen tomorrow.
Impossible.
It's not even come off the vessel yet. It's
okay.
still on the ship in the port.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's not happening. You ain't getting your delivery tomorrow. And, apparently this guy's like, what do you mean? Why can't I get my delivery tomorrow? It's urgent. And he's like, because it's not here yet, technically.
Yeah. It's not been delivered to us yet, for us to then deliver it to you.
So, yeah. And the other thing was way back when, I'm talking like 2002. Dara Breen does this fantastic skit of proving how he knows we're not made in God's image.
Okay.
And the way he explains it is, you're not made in God's image when you manage to bite the inside of your cheek.
Yes.
And it's like, that's a great skit, fantastic, love it, highly relatable. I had one of those moments this week.
Okay.
I managed to get a paper cut from toilet paper.
What kind of toilet paper are you using?
Cashel!
Wow.
And
other brands are available.
We're not the BBC. We can be biased. I just, I went to the toilet, did my thing.
Did you?
Came back, wrong gear. Came back to the living room.
Yeah.
And I was playing with the PS5, and I just happened to look down at my controller, and my controller was just covered in blood, and I was like, the fuck? And then I realised I had a paper cut on my hand from toilet paper.
Are you sure it was from the toilet paper?
I can only assume it was from the toilet paper because I hadn't touched anything else between that. Well, obviously the towel from when I washed and dried my hands.
Yeah.
But there was no other interactions between the toilet and the living room.
Wow.
So I can only assume I got it from the toilet paper, and then I had to have like once I cleaned the PS5 controller up, I then had to have like a 5-10 minute sort of, what's happened in my life that I'm managing to get a paper cut from toilet paper?
I mean, I know I like to moisturise, but that's soft.
Yeah. I mean, people have always said to me, oh, Ben, you have really soft hands. What do? You have such soft hands. I'm like, I don't fucking know. But yeah, apparently they are so soft now,
Yeah.
they can be cut by toilet paper.
Oh, wow.
So, next Halloween, people are going to be trying to scare me with toilet paper, and they're going, ooh,
They're going to TP you.
careful, you might get a paper cut. And of course, paper cuts are the worst because they're so shallow, you just catch them on everything.
Yeah. They are. Oh, that reminds me of that time when Jackass did paper cuts on. Do you remember that one?
Vaguely.
They were just going along and they were like doing it in between each other's toes. Oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurts thinking about it. It's just like makes you cringe.
Anyway, how are you?
I am very well.
Mm-hmm.
I am now on annual leave.
Yep.
I am off for a grand total of 10 days.
Woo!
The first night, Ben, boy, did I sleep. It's amazing.
I thought you slept every night.
Yeah. I sleep, but I've had this discussion with sort of a few other friends as I went out for brunch today.
You went out for brunch?
Yeah, I went out for brunch, Ben.
R&L? R&L? Come on. 2 initials that are a couple.
Oh, no.
Okay.
It was midweek. They're working.
Oh, yeah, fair.
But funny enough, I did see Elle's mother there.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway. So, you sleep to kind of recharge and everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, the last couple of weeks have been just so busy that when you have a lot on your mind, you don't get a proper sleep. You don't get deep sleep.
Yeah.
And my God, that Sunday night, I woke up in the morning and I had dribbled and snored so much, it was ridiculous. So I wear a night mask. Don't I?
Yes.
It had managed to slip down. I had managed to soak that. I had managed to soak my pillow. I had to flip my pillow around 180 degrees and use the other side. Even though I'd been dribbling, my throat was so dry because I'd been snoring so hard.
Jeez.
I slept, and I don't know about you, but when you go to sleep, you know that I kind of I always sleep on my left side.
No, I toss and turn, but carry on.
Well, so do I. But I know that I would have tossed and turned in the night because I would have been in a different position or duvets wrong or whatever. I must have just died because nothing had moved. I woke up and I was you get the skin wrinkles from sleeping so hard.
Yeah.
I was a complete skin wrinkle.
You're like that little wrinkly dog.
Even the side I didn't sleep on was I think it just all wrinkled together.
Brilliant.
I was such a deep sleep. I tell you what, I woke up that morning feeling refreshed. So it was clearly needed.
It won't last long.
No, it won't, because I'm about to work and it'll be silly season next week. But overall, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling refreshed. I actually feel human, which is nice. But other than that, there's nothing really to report apart from the fact we had a really busy weekend just before I finished. And now
standard stuff.
Yeah, standard stuff. Yeah. There is something I want to bring up though.
Okay.
Before we talk about the movie, It is related because we brought it up a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
I want to talk Loki season 2.
Loki season 2. Okay.
Obviously, as most people will realise by the title of this episode, we are going to talk a Marvel movie anyway.
Yes.
So it all ties in, theoretically.
Yeah.
I obviously stated a couple of weeks ago, and you obviously stated a couple of weeks ago, that we weren't feeling Loki season 2 as much. We were having issues with Disney as a whole and how their TV shows was working, this and that. So we've just had, at the time of recording...
Bear with. I'm going to sneeze.
Okay. You nearly had this awful sneeze in the cinema as well.
It's gone.
Okay.
We're good.
Right. But so we just had the finale of Loki season 2.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I was pleasantly surprised. I actually, watching it now and having every episode out, I feel like this season 2 isn't brilliant, but it actually makes sense now the whole thing's out. I feel like it's one of those ones that actually probably would be better to binge watch.
Yeah.
As a group, as opposed to watching it weekly. Because I feel like there was bits where it got a bit confusing and convoluted in the plot.
Yeah.
But that final episode I thought was really, really good. And I think that not maybe makes up for it, but makes the series better as a whole, because I feel like it had a solid ending. If it had a weak ending, I think it'd have just been like a poor show altogether. Mm-hmm. I don't know about your thoughts on it. If you have any that you want to bring up.
See, everyone raved about the finale of Loki Season 2, and I can remember thinking, what? And not what as in, I'm confused. I fully followed along. But I was just like, why does everyone see this as the golden shrine that everyone seems to be talking about it is?
Right.
And I don't know if it's just people are so desperate to have something to love and enjoy that they're, making a pile of shit look like the golden turd from American Dad. Also, question for you, Mr. Comic Book Master.
Well, that's,
does what happened at the end of Loki happen in the comic books as well?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a little bit better with it then, because I was sitting there going, so they're ripping off Doctor Who. With the whole, it's far enough now with Doctor Who that I can say, but with Clara jumping into the Doctor's timeline, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, so they're ripping off Doctor Who.
Yeah. So it's only I think it's only a recent storyline from the last 5 or 6 years maybe, but that storyline of Loki, God of Stories, is quite a recent storyline, but it was very well taken. So but obviously not knowing that storyline very well, I've now obviously seen bits online. Like most people, you try and stay away from spoilers and everything. So when the finale happened, I tried to stay away from the comic book channels that I follow and things like that.
Yeah.
And now that I've watched it and then going back and then understanding, I get the fact that they were following a comic book storyline in their own Marvel Cinematic Universe way.
Yeah.
Because with most of it, they don't always they take key plot points, but not necessarily follow it page for page.
Yeah.
But I do feel like they did a good job with it. I do feel like I enjoyed it, and I'd be interested to see where they take
the character. If they can. Haven't they just sort of gone, that's it, we're done?
Well,
because he's kind of separate now from everything else.
Yeah. But
but then the whole idea is with the variants and everything, you could have another Loki, just not this Loki kind of thing.
I mean, you could, but also, I mean, Marvel as a whole, as we've seen from several things lately, including the thing that we've seen tonight, is a bit of a jumbled mess. As they've got a lot of issues going on. It's coming out now that they're talking about maybe completely ditching the whole Kang universe thing, and even getting rid of the Avengers Kang Dynasty movie.
Oh, wow.
Because the lead writer for that has now left.
Wow.
So there is a lot going on. There's obviously, lots of issues going on with Jonathan Majors and things like that.
Yeah.
Whether or not he is found guilty or innocent, innocent until proven guilty, blah, 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 blah. However you want to take it. They're obviously trying to maybe potentially rework where they were going with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just in case these things don't go through.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I mean, they've got a lot of organising to do, and whether or not that, means that they have to drop the multiverse, or that part of the multiverse line that they were going with, and maybe take it more down a mystic way with, Doctor Strange 2, and maybe follow more of a magic line as opposed to more of kind of a sciencey line that would be Kang.
Yeah. I heard rumours they were going to swap Kang out for Doctor Doom.
I had rumours as well. I mean, Doctor Doom would be a cool thing. They're obviously looking to integrate the Fantastic Four anyway into the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. So,
whether or not that works, obviously Doom's a big person, and Doom isn't just a villain to the Fantastic Four. He is a major villain for the whole of the Marvel Universe in the comics. So it could work in their favour for that one. But whether or not they do that, or God only knows. They've in this last day they've just released the trailer for Madam Web. They've just released a trailer for What If Season 2. We've got...
I've got a What If episode for them. You ready?
Yeah, go on then.
What if Marvel was still good?
Yeah. Wouldn't we all like to know? But obviously we've got the Kraven the Hunter movie that's coming out.
Which we will be going to see regardless of whether it's good or not.
Oh, and why is that, Ben?
Because the lead is hot.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Yeah, I don't blame you for that one. But yeah, so whether or not they then eventually integrate those Spider-Man things into the MCU and things is another thing. I think they've got a lot of threads and bits that they can probably pick and choose and maybe redirect things and see where it goes. But for the time being,
they've also got the giant. What's it in the Indian Ocean? Just sitting there doing nothing.
Well, yeah, the massive Eternal.
Yeah. They could go down that line if they wanted to.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I keep on saying that it's been like 5 movies and 3 shows, and everybody still hasn't mentioned the big thing that's growing out of the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what they're going to do with the Eternals, and things like that. I think they've got, I think they have enough plot points that they can redirect and do stuff if they want to. Obviously, the strikes are now all officially over, so they can sit there and potentially maybe go, well, let's just delay everything for another year and try and work out a cohesive story. Yeah. I feel like Kevin Feige would do that, and just, what if isn't like a major thing into the, it's kind of almost a separate storyline because it's kind of being animated and things like that. So I feel like they could probably have enough pre-recorded stuff, movies and stuff to kind of keep them going for a year, and then they can take it from there. Yeah. But, who knows? But
Speaking of Marvel
and speaking of their cinematic universe, we have just been to see the Marvels.
Yes.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You start.
Well, that was boring. I feel like the first 10 minutes was recapping Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. Yeah. Because, annoyingly, I watched the Miss Marvel TV show, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. I thought it was, it was more... It was certainly lighter and slightly more childish in the sense of it was directed for younger viewers, as opposed to, say, something what like Blade will eventually be, vampire hunting and things like that. Yeah. I feel like it was slightly more, youth friendly. However, I really enjoyed the TV show, but it got very few viewers. So I feel like that's why they've had to recap it. Yeah. People obviously probably don't really rewatch Captain Marvel as a general movie. Yeah. So they've had to recap that in their first 10 minutes as well. And then they had to kind of they didn't do too much recapping with Monica Rambeau because I feel like a lot of people watched WandaVision. Yeah. But they still had a very brief bit for her, which was only like a minute or 2. But overall, this movie just felt like... I don't know how to explain it to you, but I was sitting there after that first half an hour, it's not a spoiler because it's kind of in the trailers, but like that first lot of like switcheroony stuff that was going on, right? Yeah, for a better term. But I felt like it was supposed to be a fast-paced situation. It felt so slow. I was just like, this is supposed to be like, oh my god, this is all happening really quickly, blah 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 blah. But I was sitting there going, the pacing feels off. I feel like they've cut bits out and we've missed scenes, and that's why it doesn't feel like it didn't feel coherent. Yeah. The movie didn't feel coherent at all. There was loads of bits where it was just like, where was the sudden costume change? Yeah. It was like, there was a bit where when I saw you look at me when I raised my hand, but they obviously CGI'd in some tears because it cut away, then cut back, and there was no more tears on the face of a character. I was just like, well, that's clearly CGI in like one scene, to even like, you could have like easily shown them wipe away a tear or something, or just still have like residue. Mm-hmm. They decided to add that into post. I just feel like it was a bit of a mess. And it just baffled me, really. I'm really getting annoyed with Marvel because they're supposed to be. I mean, even me as a big DC fan, you know, don't get me wrong, the last several movies of DC haven't been good, and you could always bet on the fact that Marvel, certainly for the first 10 years or 10, 11 years, their movies were good and they were consistent and they had a through storyline. This did not feel like it in the slightest. It just felt like, and to use what you say quite a lot, felt like a nothing movie. Just didn't feel like it achieved anything.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Your thoughts. Okay.
Ben, your thoughts.
Well, actually, I absolutely loved it.
Are you joking?
Yeah, of course I'm
fucking wanna be. I'll pull this car over. I'm not driving.
I really wanted it to be a good film. I really wanted to come on here and be all sanctimonious and be like, no, you're all just jumping on the hype train, hating it for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
There is many a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
It's basically, it's fan fiction.
Yeah.
And what's even worse is it references itself being fan fiction halfway through the film.
Yeah.
Like they're doing something and one character turns to the other and goes, how much of this is a Captain Marvel fan fiction? They're like, a lot of it. It's like, this whole film's been fan fiction. It was just fan fiction. Like the audience insert was Miss Marvel.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
which we don't need.
No,
we don't need an audience insert anymore.
No, you generally need audience inserts for when the audience doesn't know what's going on, and you need that character to ask questions. You know, you can technically argue that Harry Potter in his own films is the audience insert. Because he was raised as a muggle, he had no clue, and so, you know, he's asking all the questions and the wizards have to answer it. You know, Dumbledore and Hermione have to give him the answers.
Yeah, yeah. Even Ron sometimes.
So, to an extent, Harry is an audience insert in his own films.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, Miss Marvel was the audience insert in this film, but we already know everyone's powers, we already know everyone's backstories, and we can get a bit of a recap. Yeah. But we already know, like, the things. And so it was just a fan fiction that wasn't needed.
Yeah.
Major inconsistencies, like you said, the costume change. Like, for example, of course, the whole thing is fought over. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not.
To be honest, it doesn't really fucking matter.
But if you do want to go watch it and you don't want it being spoiled, stop watching here and just skip to the end.
I'll put a thing up, and when the thing disappears, then you know you're okay.
But, like, so of course, Miss Marvel has her gauntlet, her quantum band, and I noticed, like, it would switch from her having 1 to 2, back to 1, back to 2, and it was just like, where is the consistency here?
Yeah.
Who is the editor who's supposed to sit there and watch this stuff and make sure things like that don't happen?
Yeah.
There was a really major bit where it's like the villain of the film needs the quantum band and the universal weapon to do the bad thing.
Don't even get me started about the universal weapon.
But there's a moment when Captain Marvel knocks the universal weapon out of the bad guy's hands, and he's basically got them pinned down. Well, not pinned down. They've actually got Captain Marvel pinned down, but they're kind of holding him off. And no one's going for the universal weapon. And for the fact is Captain Rambo is in the same area.
Yeah.
What is she doing? Because there's just the three of them. It's not like Captain Rambo is fighting off other enemies.
They're all standing there doing a power pose and not actually doing anything fucking helpful.
And it's just like, these are the kind of things where someone who isn't a fanfic writer would sort of go, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I either now need to get rid of Captain Rambo or bring in, endless drones for her to fight.
There wasn't even endless drones in this movie.
No. So there was that. There was the whole, there was the costume switching constantly, because not only was one costume switching, which you've managed to explain away going, oh, well, she needs to hide her band. Fine.
Yeah.
But then they all managed to costume switch again later on in a different world. It's just like, what? There was another thing I wanted to explain about. Yes, the actress who played the villain, so wooden.
Oh, she was awful.
So wooden. And I get it. You don't want to be in this film. You probably think it's an absolute shit show. You probably think it's going to do badly. Why sign the contract?
Well, you've probably signed up for it thinking, I'm going to be in a Marvel movie, it's going to be great. You said, yes, of course, signed the contract, then been given the script, because Marvel doesn't give out the scripts beforehand.
Yeah.
And then she's read the script and gone, well, shit.
Yeah.
And just to cut you off, I'm really, really sorry.
Yeah.
The universal weapon, because I just want to keep up the potential spoiler bit, that universal weapon is bollocks because she's like the new Ronan the thingy-majiggy.
Ronan, yeah.
Yeah. Ronan the Accuser. She's the new Accuser. And his hammer only had that power because it had the fucking Power Stone imbued into it.
And the Infinity Stones have all been destroyed.
Yeah. So why the fuck has he got the powers of an Infinity fucking
I thought
weapon?
that as well. I was like, hang on a minute.
It didn't fucking make sense.
No, because it's a fanfic.
Yeah, it literally makes no fucking sense.
What else did I want to say about it? Yeah, the villain's acting was wooden.
Yeah.
Brie Larson's was relatively wooden. I think
She always is.
She always is. The person playing Captain Rambeau, she tried to do as best as she could.
I think she's a good actress.
She's a good actress.
And so's Amala Khan.
Kamala Khan,
yeah.
whoever played her, I think because she's young, she's got a whole future ahead of her.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you say, some people are excited just to be in a Marvel film.
Mm.
I think she was like, let me give this my absolute all.
Yeah.
You know, so her and Captain Rambeau are trying. And then you got Brie Larson and whoever plays the villain, basically wouldn't, and it was just so jarring.
Yeah, it really was.
I was more focused on my straw going floppy in my drink.
Yeah.
And that's not a euphemism.
It really wasn't. He had a slushy.
Yeah. So
it was a big disappointment. Big disappointment.
Yeah. The thing is we went in with low expectations as well.
Well, yeah, but I also had that. I had the same. Also, in the back of my head, I also had that same mentality of, you know what? I actually hope this does have some justice, and it's just like not people being idiots, and things like that. But it was just a bad film. It didn't do any justice to the characters. It didn't do any justice to. Not even the storyline. There wasn't even really a proper decent storyline because at the end of the day, what did it achieve? Basically nothing. Something that she could have done easily if she just thought about it from the start.
Yeah.
So it's literally achieved nothing.
Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to complain about it.
Yeah.
Like Thor: Love and Thunder, like in order to make their main protagonist better in Thor: Love and Thunder, they had to dumb down Thor.
Yes.
They did the exact same to Nick Fury in this film.
Yeah.
He was a bumbling idiot in this film.
Yeah.
And that's not Nick Fury.
Yeah, considering he literally just had Secret Invasion. Yeah. Which is like, it just showed like how his mentality worked on things and how sneaky he could be and how hard, like badass he could be when it comes to thing and, you know, basically taking on a complete invasion of aliens on Earth. And then, like you said, he turned into a bumbling idiot. Yeah. It was just so frustrating.
And I get... whoever's written it has done it for comedic effect.
Yeah, but
it's not funny because that's not the right character to do that to. And also, it's trying to, you know, he's a bumbling idiot. He needs to be saved by the protagonist. Blah blah blah. But it's like, no, that's not Nick Fury.
And it's only like 4 movies ago, that this is what I wanted to say as well. Is that actually Captain Marvel was like the big powerhouse that helped the Avengers. You know, destroy Thanos and his armies. And in this, she couldn't even have like a fight with one person. You can say the power switcheroonie didn't help, but actually, even when she was like throwing punches, either she was pulling back, or they just dropped her power set.
And that's a Spider-Man thing to do.
Yeah, it is. And she ain't Spider-Man.
She ain't.
So, yeah, that was that. That felt like a real bad rant.
I set you up by accident, didn't I?
I feel like I just ranted about that. But yeah, so...
Are you okay?
I am now. Okay. Let's do final thoughts.
Paper cuts are bad.
Especially from toilet paper.
Be careful of that toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like, if it can cut out of your hands, imagine what it's doing to your butthole.
Exactly.
You know.
Not nice.
You don't want cuts on your chocolate starfish.
Exactly. Advice for the day, I guess.
Advice of the day. No cuts on the chocolate starfish. That's going on my Grindr profile.
If you get buried, I'm going to have that engraved on your tombstone.
He died with no cuts on his chocolate starfish. Brilliant. Chef's kiss.
Hey, it probably would be. Yeah. Loki season 2 for me was was not brilliant, but I felt the ending was strong.
Loki season 2 for me, considering all the trailers and all the merchandising that went with it, especially since they partnered with Samsung, showed him as hopping everywhere through time. There was not enough time hopping.
No, there wasn't.
It sold itself as a jaunt through time, and there was barely any of it.
It was more at McDonald's.
It was more at McDonald's. Other fast food chains are available.
And the Marvels was...
It was poor. It's a fanfic. Normally, when we see a bad film, we say, wait for it to come out on streaming service, get some friends around, get drunk, and rip it to shit. Don't even do that. If you want to get rid of your friends, invite them round. Put this film on.
If you don't want friends anymore, make them watch this.
Yeah. But if you want to keep your friends,
don't watch it.
Don't watch it. Don't bother.
But with that brings...
Comment down below.
Yep.
Have you ever had a paper cut? Where was it? How much did it hurt?
Was it on your chocolate starfish? And was it from toilet paper? If you have watched Loki Season 2, give us your thoughts. What did you think about it? And if you are so unfortunate to have seen Marvels, let us know what you thought as well down below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and tell your friends about this great new podcast that you love.
And if you're on Spotify, 5-star. Is it 5-star rating?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
5-star rating and comment down below as well. Yeah. And that brings this episode to an end. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Cheers. Bye-bye.